Brought to you by the Penwell Fire Group and the Battalion TV.
Welcome to Harrisburg, Bureau of Fire. Harrisburg is the capital city of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and rests on the banks of the Susquehanna River. Located in Dauphin County and 107 miles west of Philadelphia, the capital city has a population of 48,000, but swells to over 100,000 during the work week. Limited to 14 firefighters per 12-hour shift, this department still meets the challenges of keeping the city safe. Previously on Harrisburg, Bureau of Fire, we met with Chief Brian Ennerline and Deputy Chief Michael Sauter to learn more about the department from the two men tasked with running it. We rode to a call with Bill Russo, learned about water rescue training with Captain Mike Feldman and Lieutenant Will Skinner. We received some good insight on what it takes to make a great firefighter from Bill Riddle and Battalion Chief Stephen Miller. And we received a brief history lesson from Al Kruger at the Harrisburg Fire Museum. In this episode, we're back at Station 2, where we sat down with firefighter Justin Zimmerman.
My name is Justin Zimmerman. I'm with the Harrisburg Bureau of Fire. I've been on just shy of 5 years, and I am the driver of Tower 1. Between my grandfather and my father, my brother, we've all been volunteers, but I was the first one to actually become a professional firefighter. I started my career as a volunteer in a small little city in the coal region of Pennsylvania called Shamokin, where I ran on a rescue company for a couple years, and then I moved down here with my family and for this job. The call that really got me into realizing that I have my own story here is we got dispatched to a working fire on Market Street about a couple blocks away. It was only me and my partner on the truck. I was riding the officer's seat. We arrived on scene and we had fire shown on the first floor, and there was entrapment. So I was able to get a ladder to the porch roof, go up, and my partner met me up there, and we were actually able to find a victim through vent enter search right away, and we were able to pull her out, and she actually survived. So that was my first grab, and I was only on the job for like 2 years.
While the firefighters do routine maintenance between calls, we met up with Battalion Chief Wise to learn more about his career with the department.
Battalion Chief Floyd A. Wise III. I am with Harrisburg Bureau of Fire, and I'm into my 18th year in the department. I volunteered for York Township Fire Department, Station 19 in York County, and I was with them since, I guess was probably there 8 years total, so I would say from like 1992, and I got hired here in 2000. When I first started, we had a few small fires, and one of the things that I noticed as a young volunteer was the impact that we were having amongst the people that had lost their property. There was no loss of life in these fires, it was all property losses, but I think I really kind of connected with the fact that our agency was providing a really important service to people that were in I say the bad day business. They were having a bad day, and we were able to maybe make it better. And I think that's what kind of motivated me to realize that I had a passion for this, was service to man. And since then, I have had the benefit of making it my career. For me, it's a privilege. So many of my friends, we had all been a volunteer, and we were all going our separate ways and getting career jobs. I was one of the first ones. And when I was extended the opportunity for Harrisburg City, Pennsylvania, I got to say I was kind of the envy of my friends and peers. And you can't say no to that. So I got a letter of conditional employment. And I think for the weekend before I actually made the phone call to tell the human resources I was taking the job, it was a pretty good weekend to be able to look at that letter, and it was a milestone. Not realizing the challenges that were ahead of me, that was the next chapter, but it was the beginning of an amazing chapter. If you would talk to any of the staff here in Harrisburg, and they've been to hundreds and thousands of calls, it's probably hard to pinpoint one call that affects you or changes you, because so many of them affect you in different ways. I think there are probably calls that are very intense. I think there are some calls that leave lasting impressions. For me, my shift, C Platoon, we had a double fatality of 2 young females in December of 2016, right before the beginning of this year, and it was very sad. I watched my personnel perform searches that night under very harsh conditions. They really extended themselves to find the two females and got them out. Unfortunately, they expired shortly after while they were in at the healthcare facility. They expired. So it was sad that it was successful that we found the females, but then it was hard, and that we sort of felt that they would be resuscitated, they would live, and unfortunately, the sad fact is a lot of the people that we save from buildings that are exposed to smoke and fire and heat, if they don't expire during the event, they expire shortly afterwards. So.
A call comes in. It's a report of a structure fire. BC Wise drives to the call.
Fire departments across the nation are really checking out the new Vulcan structure boots from Cosmos USA.
Feel comfortable.
Yeah, man, I like that room at the top.
Yeah, I do. Super light.
I can feel that arch support.
I do like the straps. I like them. I can get my hands on them.
These are like part of the boot, stitched really far down into it.
They feel good even all the way up.
They do fit good. They feel good.
Yeah, I like these.
What these things to use?
You can check them out at www.cosmosusa.com with a 3-year, 100% warranty.
We're back with Battalion Chief Wise as he drives to the location of a reported structure fire.
Squad Air, Captain Search Company, updated information.
Arrived on scene. I had 2 windows of fire showing on the first floor of the Bravo side of a 2.5-story wood frame duplex. So for us in our world, that's probably a one-line fire that's very manageable. I guess some people might call it bread and butter fire. And I received my tower ladder, arrived on scene very quickly. They were right behind me. They positioned on the address side for ventilation, and in a matter of seconds, what went from a bread and butter fire with 2 windows was an entire fully involved first floor.
With a second exit now safely opened up, Battalion Chief Wise directs the men to ventilate the front of the structure. firefighters still battling the blaze, Battalion Chief Wise calls for a recall support team.
Once we strike a second alarm, that initiates a recall of staff. So off-duty staff and off-duty officers can report back, and they will backfill usually an engine or an engine and truck. And so that's the group that you caught going out the door, was the recall engine bringing support staff to the scene.
We ride with a recall support team.
Oh, yeah, Jared and Nick came in a boat, I bet. Boat one's here.
Zach's by with Nate, too.
The recall support team arrives on scene. With a line securely stretched down the block and water pressure at a maximum, the Bureau of Fire continues to flood the structure. The recall unit immediately reports to Deputy Chief Souter and Battalion Chief Wise and awaits further instruction.
I'm going to get that third floor window.
With the fire now mostly contained, Battalion Chief Wise and Deputy Chief Souter game plan on where to place the recall unit.
Well, once they report to the command post, we kind of had a little issue. The exposure third floor had a little bit of fire extension that, for whatever reason, individuals that we were sending inside just weren't quite getting it opened up. So we had some pretty decent firemen on the recall engine that day. So I tasked them with going up and finishing that problem for me, making sure it went away. And they went up, and in classic Harrisburg style, they dug it out, opened it up, and the fire went out.
Our building, I need a good thorough floor-to-floor overhaul, especially on those common walls, open top to bottom seals. I don't know how much is open. If it's not open, Lieutenant 8 knows what he's done. Went in and join them. We're going to be open. Anything that needs opened up, open up. So we have.
As a recall unit gets into position, Justin Zimmerman tells us what he saw upon arrival with the tower.
We got here to fire going out the first story window. My two guys went in a while, and then I set the truck up, and by the time I had the truck set up, the fire was going across the whole porch roof, and I got up on the roof.
Hey, are they great coffee?
What do we have, Chief?
A little fire, Dave, a little fire.
The recall unit digs into the walls and ceilings in search of any remaining embers or hot spots.
He gave this to me because he knew he was coming in behind us. Who it was.
Once a ceiling is cleared, a line is brought in to douse the remaining hot spots. The first units that arrived on scene take a well-deserved break as the recall unit continues to work through the structure.
Should have left the air pack off.
SVI Trucks is a fourth-generation, family-owned, Colorado-based company that specializes in building custom emergency vehicles and has for over 50 years. SVI SVI Trucks has produced over 1,000 emergency service vehicles that are saving lives every day all over the world. SVI Trucks has gained a rock-solid reputation for innovative designs and superior quality. To find out more, go to www.svitrucks.com.
Firefighters are positioning hose lines on the second level of the home to put out any remaining embers that may be in the walls or ceiling.
Yeah. Can you dig any of that out? The insulation? Yeah. Yeah, I got it. That and then more to your left as well. Yeah, we just pointed that out.
We're on the second floor, where very little remains. Somehow a child's backpack was left virtually unharmed. Firefighters are still finding embers buried within the second story of the home.
Right up in here, guys. Either that or I can hit it from down here. Didn't get it. You see where my beam's landed? Yeah. See right there. You see it burning? Oh yeah. Right over there.
With no embers showing, the recall unit continues to clear the debris on the second and third story of the home. With the fire now completely contained, Battalion Chief Wise walks the interior of the structure.
Well, the fire was really present pretty much in this room. It's hard to say, but with arrival, this was the room that we had the most fire present from. The windows failed early in the fire, and then we had fire pretty much present towards the back of this floor. So we'll investigate and see where we end up. Occupants were all clear with arrival. Apparently one small, very small baby was dropped from the building early in the incident. Baby's fine. EMS checked him out. So good day. Guys did a great job. That's a great job.
That's the problem I talked to you. He said
Chief Enterline and Deputy Chief Souter join the walkthrough to make sure the structure and all personnel are secure.
That's why we don't use gloves. It's not top through my foot. That's why we don't use gloves. Get it out of there. So I want to send you back with tape now because I want you to take your test.
I already got it.
Oh, you're done, right? That's right. So you're good. Okay, good.
That was in my foot and not through my soul.
But if it would have been 2 more inches, it would have been.
After the entire structure was walked, embers were found smoldering within the roof of the porch. After digging them out, they spray them down and put the finishing touches on a job well done. Thankfully for the city of Harrisburg, this department really knows how to work in unison. From the top brass on down to the recall unit, these firefighters really made a fast-moving structure fire look like just another day at the office. After a job well done, the men returned to Station 2. Upon arrival, the good people at Cosmos USA had brand new structure fire boots waiting for firefighter Pablo Pasalacqua and driver Justin Zimmerman.
Yeah, they feel really good actually. I can feel that arch support.
The globes are they're just stitched on real cheap. So both pairs of my globes have ripped, and I had a time like this just to make it work. So it's nice with these new boots.
Yeah, it seems like these are like part of the boot, stitched really far down into it. Better stitching, like all the triple stitches down here and all.
Get out of here!
The firefighters junked their old boots for the new Cosmos structure fire boots.
Stop hurting your back. Designed to prevent first responder back injuries and extend careers, the walkboard is the newest innovation in patient extrication. It's a dolly designed specifically for transporting people that must remain supine, lying face up. It allows first responders to roll their patients to safety instead of carrying them. Use the walkboard instead of a rib stretcher, scoop stretcher, or other device that requires carrying. Find out more about the walkboard at www.walkboard.com.
We're back at Station 2 with Battalion Chief Wise.
Unfortunately, the young man, 6-year-old young boy, showed up at the fire scene as school let out, and we were still in the cleanup mode. He had lost a cat, and I believe there was a rabbit involved. The rabbit was not his pet, however, he was pretty upset about that. But believe it or not, he was more upset about his bicycle. The bicycle had been on the front porch. Unfortunately, the front porch had been well involved in fire, and the bicycle was completely destroyed. My staff had pulled the bicycle and the mattress out to the curbside because it was obviously completely burnt. So, looking at the situation, I felt for the young man. He was completely heartbroken by his bicycle. So I was able to make contact with a group in Harrisburg called Recycle Bicycle, and Ross, who's the nonprofit business owner, said immediately that he would be able to supply a bicycle or bicycles for the young man. Whatever time, between 4:30 and 5, we're going to go deliver that bicycle for that little guy that lost his bike in the fire. So I got 2 in my truck. So I'm going to bring the whole shift out. It's 2016 Dairy. It's where the kid's living right now with his mom and grandma.
The men from BC Wise's shift arrive with 2 bikes for Jaden to choose from.
Hey Tiffany, how are you? We're right outside 2016 Dairy Street right now. No. 2016, that's what we'll move over. Just stand by 1 second and we will be right up. Just stay right there. Hold on. Alright, so miscommunications. Mom said 2016. It's 2116, so we're one block up.
Walk it up.
Yep, walk it up.
So you can use the step.
2116. Come on, guys. Good rehearsal. Nice work, guys.
After a quick laugh from the address mishap, the firefighters of Harrisburg walked the bikes the block to Jaden's location.
We brought all the fire trucks, all the firemen that were working for your fire are here. Same shift, same group of guys. So we'll try to get you back to work as soon as we can. Where do you work at? Oh, so you didn't have to go too far? You're not getting in trouble with your boss, right? Don't get yourself in trouble. Okay. And you got to go back then once you're done, then Grandma has to take over.
Yeah.
That's all right, right? You don't mind that, do you? Taking care of the grandkids is good for you? You like that? It's good for grandmas. All right, cool. More firemen coming.
People were driving by thinking the house was on fire.
Yeah, everybody's like, what's going on?
I know. We're getting the neighborhood all excited. So.
Hey, it needs a little bit of action.
The right address? We're at the right place this time. We're at the right place. Crowd is a practice run. You guys did great. Did an awesome job. All right. So anyway, Jaden, a week ago you had a rough time, and you know you were really heartbroken about your bicycle. So we were able to make contact with someone, and we actually have 2 bicycles for you to choose from. We got 2 of them. Either one you pick is yours. New bicycle will get you back on a set of wheels. You just got to be really careful riding, okay? So you can go ahead, pick which one, jump up, and either one is yours, whichever one you like. You go check them out. Pick one. Pick which one, whichever one you like. The one's got a front wheel brake and a back wheel brake. The other one just got a cruiser brake. Either one, man. That's the winner. All right, Jaden, that's your bicycle. And if we can, we'd like to get a picture of you and the guys, all of us with you. A brand new bike.
See you, man. Ride safe.
Yeah, man.
They don't ride down those steps. That's not a good idea.
Yeah, make sure it's good to wear a helmet, man. That really is important.
Everybody.
Thanks, buddy. Here.
Welcome.
Unfortunately for Jaden and his family, they lost their home. But more importantly, they are alive and safe. The Bureau of Fire demonstrated why they are at the heart of the city of Harrisburg by going above and beyond their call of duty and bringing joy out of the ashes of what seemed like a hopeless situation.